Hello, my name is Steve Hooper with the St. George Running Center. Today we are here with three of my friends that just came off of running the Ironman St. George on May 1st, 2010. We have Ross Decker here, he's a local here in St. George. Lindsey Merrill, also a local here in St. George. And Brian Bergener, who is also local here in St. George. Today we're just going to be talking about their experience with the Ironman. They'll be sharing their experience, why they signed up, their training, a little about the race, and then they're going to share some tips with us to help us and those that are going to be doing the race in future years. So to get going, the race turned out fantastic. Volunteers were just amazing. I've never seen an Ironman event before. For me personally, it was very, very inspiring. I loved it. I was there at the start of the race and just had cold chills watching the guys start in the water and the gals start in the water. Perfect day. We couldn't ask for a better day, and everything pretty much went smooth except for a few accidents on the bike course. But enough about that. Let's get in and kind of talk to the guys about their experience and listen to that. So with you guys, starting off, when you heard that the Ironman St. George was starting, what made you decide to want to sign up?
Go ahead,
Ross. Let me start with you.
I'd heard rumors long before it was ever official that it was coming, and
okay.
I couldn't believe it because there's so few Ironmans. What are there, 7 in North America?
I think so, yeah.
Out of 25 or so worldwide, or those numbers somewhat close, and it's really putting St. George on the map. But done shorter triathlons, sprint and Olympic distances, and that's a far cry from what Ironman involves. But I think it's just something I couldn't pass up to be part of history in the making, the first one coming to St. George.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been here for the first St. George Marathon with the credentials that they have now, and I think I'd already run 2 or 3 marathons before the first St. George Marathon. I was pretty young back then, and I wasn't living in St. George either. That had a lot to do with it, but it was history in the making, and I just wanted to reiterate what you said about the community support was tremendous. I heard 3,500 volunteers that were out there, and saw a lot of people. There were, in the weeks leading up to the Ironman, people were saying, "Yeah, I'm going to be out there helping," and they told me where, and I said, "Yell loud, because I'll probably be delirious," or something, which was true.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of people we knew out there, though, and it was fun reading in the newspaper. There were people from out of state that had done close to a dozen Ironmans throughout the country and world, and they were writing back to St. George saying that this was their favorite one, and it was because of the crowd support. And you hear the same thing with other events like the marathon, but can't say enough about that.
Yeah, it really was amazing. What about you, Lindsey?
I had some of the same results from the from the spectators. When I first heard about Ironman coming to St. George, I thought, this is incredible, because back in '84 when I was doing the short, well, in those days they didn't have the Olympic or sprint distance, they had whatever was available. Mm-hmm. And most of the time it was generally the half of the Ironman distance, generally the half marathon after the bike and swim. And so when it came to St. George, I thought, I've got to get on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
This is really exciting. And but I took a break from training from 2001 to 2008.
Okay.
So I just started training a few years ago again for this. Not just for this race, but for the World Senior Games, Huntsman's, and then this is just like icing on the cake to come out here and get to participate in this event, and so it was really exciting. And my wife was so excited that she volunteered, and my whole family volunteered to help out, and they helped out with the transition out of the swim, and helped people find their bikes, and they were in that part of it. And then I had. Along the course, I had friends on the whole course. I mean, it was just incredible. Everywhere I went, everybody was cheering. Yeah. And of course, when you come across the finish line, it just went crazy. It was so amazing. It was really amazing.
So when you took that time off, for a while and you weren't training, did you ever think that you'd do an Ironman?
I thought that was out of the question. I thought I'd never see it.
Yeah, amazing that it's here for us locally just to be able to sign up and do such a great event.
Awesome.
That's awesome. What about you, Brian?
Similar story, as Lindsey's. It really is. You know, we all have an athletic background, but for many years I was dormant. Going through job and the family and everything else. You kind of lose that direction. It was only probably about 2007 I picked it back up again. And as a matter of fact, I was when I heard about Ironman, I immediately got on board to be a volunteer captain.
Okay.
And I was set to do that. It wasn't until the very first meeting for volunteer captains one night that I was presented with the opportunity to be able to be a participant.
Yeah.
I went, and a friend of mine was able to get me into Ironman as a participant. I was truly honored to be able to have that happen to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that my training was going to be at the point where it was. I didn't feel confident enough within myself where my training was to be able to complete a full Ironman. Obviously, like these guys.
Well, didn't you just start doing triathlons a little while ago?
Just about a year and a half ago. Yeah, it's only my second full season of doing triathlons.
You've come a long ways, though.
Coming from a cycling background, and, 2 years ago I couldn't even put 2 laps together in a pool.
Yeah.
I couldn't go down and back. Forget it. I just swam 2.4 miles, So.
Yeah, in cold water, too.
Very cold water, man. It was wickedly cold, but I'm very, very blessed to have this opportunity. And we've got it 4 more times.
Yeah.
And, we're there every year from now on. And, home court advantage, we get a lot of opportunities to train on this course all the time, so we have that opportunity. I just heard so many tremendous positive feedback from participants. You don't get to talk a lot of, obviously in the swim you can't, and on the bike you don't get it. A lot of talk with your fellow competitors, but on the run course you do. You get to carry on a conversation here and there. And I heard a lot of very, very positive feedback from the competitors. Not only just about the race itself, but especially the volunteers, the scenery, the way the community has rallied around this. It was very positive.
Yeah, awesome, good deal.